How are you guys doing?
We're doing great. Let's record this greatness. I'm pumped to talk to you today, Melissa. We
I'm
get to
really
hang out
excited to be
finally.
here. I know, I'm looking forward to it. Really excited to be here. You guys are doing some incredible things.
You're doing awesome. Guys, I've been doing like this series of bringing guests on for y'all the last couple weeks. I'm actually really excited about this one. I know it was great to have Brad Smith on our call last week, Melissa. So you're following up a pretty big
No
act there.
pressure.
But I'm actually more excited for this one than I am that one.
Well, I'll take it.
Yep. Yep. And I am because you're going through a phase right now that so many people are going through. So I think especially what we've most recently gone through, we have the most power in that area to help somebody get through it. Is that right, guys? You've ever dealt with something where you see one of your friends going through it and you're like, "Oh, dude, I got you. Listen, sit down, sis. Let me tell you what you're about to experience because I've been through it." Okay, this is what Melissa can do for you guys right now, okay? All right, so Jacob Chenier, put on your seatbelt. Listen up, dude. This one's for you. But this is for a lot of you that are brand new. And Melissa is going to be the first one to tell you she hasn't made it yet. Like she just got started here. She hasn't made it yet. But it's cool that I got her in a position speaking on a master agency call because she is the type of person that's going to have a master agency someday. And she's the type of person that's going to have a 130 business, just like many of you are in her first 6 months right now, figuring out production. Wait, maybe first 8 months, Melissa?
Yeah, so I started actually in January dialing. So, yeah,
Okay.
it's been, let's see, nine, I'm on month 10 now. So,
So
yep.
January dialing. So, anyways, I want you to tell your story. Obviously, like fill us in on who you are
Yeah,
and what
sure.
you've done to get here. But let me if I can get my other screen pulled up, I'll actually, you know what? Give me your story first. Let me get the notes I have pulled up because I did take some notes from Craig. I'm sure you're excited for me to read those all out loud to you.
Oh,
So I
so
definitely
excited. All right,
will.
well, I'll go ahead and share a little bit about
Yeah, go
myself and
ahead.
tell my story here to Symmetry. But
Cool.
really honored to be on the call today, Scott. So thanks so much for having me.
Yeah.
I always feel so blessed. Like we are around the most incredible leaders. We have the best support at Symmetry. It's like, where else can you go? We always say that, right? But truly. I'm direct to Justin Concer, and I always just want to shout him because he is really a servant leader. He shows up for his team and then anyone else really in the cemetery community. So he's an incredible leader. But I live in Eastern North Carolina, so the southernmost part of the Outer Banks. So on the water, I'm lucky to call this my home. Married, I have a husband, Chaz, and then I have two little ones. I have a 9-year-old daughter, Alicia, and then 11-year-old son Aiden. So two little ones. They keep us busy for sure. But so my background is accounting and finance. So I started 10 plus years in those types of roles. My last position before I came to Cemetery, I was a finance analyst. So I was responsible for forecasting. I was doing budgeting, overseeing finances for joint ventures. And from an early age, I've always really been interested in business, like just attracted to the diversity of it, the flexibility, the growth potential within business. So I actually obtained a bachelor's in business from NC State. So I got a bachelor's, and then I concentrate in entrepreneurship, surprisingly. I started kind of in a pre-med route, and then I switched over to business just because of that interest. But yeah, I always have had really a passion for learning and growing. And I went back to grad school in 2020 and got an MBA concentrating in finance, all of which you don't need to be really successful at Symmetry. But when I decided to join, I was kind of at a crossroads. I was seeing kind of two different paths. The one I was going down, which didn't seem like fulfilling. It wasn't a place I really wanted to be when I was looking down to like the next position that I would, you know, be promoted to. And I just didn't have that passion for the work I was doing. Really didn't feel much fulfillment. Purpose was low. And then the day-to-day work was really monotonous and it was pretty mind-numbing, just kind of working through Excel spreadsheets and just didn't feel like I had enough connection with purpose. And it realistically just didn't make sense to me to, continue working really hard for, it's someone else's dream. It wasn't my own, right? I was in a W-2 position, so kind of just grinding out for the company, but not seeing like myself grow the way I really wanted to. So I was finally ready kind of to pivot and work hard for myself and follow like a different calling, right? And it was a really vulnerable place to be. And I think many of us are probably here in that position. But because, we're coming from maybe different backgrounds in life and kind of thrown into a different industry, I had no sales experience. So everything was really new to me. But I read the job description Craig had, and it was a little corny, but it did resonate with me. And I was on a mission, to find purpose. And I decided, to give this opportunity a shot. So I jumped in and gave my previous employer 2 weeks notice in December, and then jumped in full time in January, not looking back, right? So I knew I was gonna kind of give this my all, and I really wanted to give it a good shot. So I jumped in full time, um, and I can already see like how my life has really significantly changed since just starting here in January. Like I wanted financial freedom, probably like many of you, right? But as I'm traveling down the path here within, the last 9 months, I'm making some incredible relationships with team members, the impact with clients, and then now growing my team and adding new team members I have recruited. So my mission like has even evolved, right, since I've been here. And now I'm just really looking to make like the most positive impact I can, spreading light to others, right? And kind of focusing on how I can help others be successful. So yeah, that's kind of my story and what got me here.
Let's talk a little bit. Let's bring some hood credit to the situation real quick, Melissa, because you're even with the intro that you sent me, the bio that you sent me, you're like, I joined in December 24, started dialing leads. I've got 2 kids and a finance accounting background. Like, you came in here and crushed it. You came in and crushed it very early on. You know the leads work. You know the script works. You know that getting paid from carriers works really well. You've probably already made 100 grand this year, and this is your first year, and the year's not over yet. I'm impressed with where you're at in your journey. So, just talk to us about the first few months. Like, and Melissa, if you could speak through the language of the 4 cornerstones, right? What did it look like for
Right.
massive action?
Yeah.
What did it look like for, maybe for the first time doing a personal development plan? Maybe you've already had one before in the past. What did it look like to lean on a system and associate with people? And what did it look like, yeah, just kind of stay in that vein for me and tell your story. Because I think the first few months for you was pretty incredible. A lot of people come in here and have a slower start. You had a fast one. So I want
Yeah,
to hear about it.
yeah, for sure. So coming in, of course, one of the cornerstones, right, is massive action, constant correction. I knew, like we talk about a flywheel, like, right, to get that momentum started, it takes a lot of energy and force, but once you have it moving, it's rolling, flying down that hill. So I knew I'd have to really kind of put in a ton of work essentially to get through that learning curve, right? Because coming from a finance background, I had minimal experience really, talking, interacting with people on a daily basis. So coming in, I was really had an investment mindset in the business. I went into, we talk about resources too, right? So the leads, how critical that was to really catapult me through the business. So I invested really heavily in the beginning to break that learning curve. So what I did is I actually got like 50 free G leads for my upline. So the first 2 days I dialed those in and just try to get used to the script, right? And use that as like kind of my training. And then I was done with that after the 2 days. I'm like, okay, I'm scaling up, right? So I went into really high intent leads. I switched over to MIBs and I bought as many as I could each week and then also supplemented with call-in Bs. And I
How,
think it's,
Melissa, how long
yeah,
did you stay on those practice leads?
2 days.
You stayed on, you said for a week.
I started dialing on a Thursday and I was done with on a Friday with those leads. So 2 days I dialed the G leads. So yeah, so I went into the high intent bonus leads because, I mean, really, if you're thinking about the numbers, right, they cost more for a reason. And I wanted to build efficiencies in my business. So buying as many of those high intent analog leads was the best way for me to do that. So I think that helped me condense that learning curve into like a 30, 60-day period, right? Instead of maybe a 6 month period or more. So I always treat it as a business just coming in. So again, I started off with the bonus leads, transitioned to the MIBs. And then around mid-February, so that was month two for me, I started with a five mail-in lead order and 10 call-in leads because that's the restriction, right, that we have at Cemetery. And I call it a restriction because I would have loved to buy more. But I bought, kind of those maximum leads that I could until I got to the 90% commission level. And then I had a few months, I went all in. So I did 30 MIAs exclusively, and I submitted over 15,000, 50,000, placed 38,000. So I hit month two at that point of top producer and month one of elite. But yeah, I think the most important part of this experience was really just diving in head first. Of course, association, we talk about how important that is. So connecting with your upline, your mentor, right? And kind of having those one-on-ones with them as you're going throughout this business to constantly correct your actions, right? So I had no shows, right? So I had sits and no sales, all of the things everyone has. But what I did is I took that as a learning opportunity and not as a failure. So the mindset shift on that, like how can I improve what I did? How can I get better? So I would bring that to my upline and just kind of talk through those scenarios where I feel like I was struggling, and that helped me again with the learning curve. So again, you just want to make sure you're reaching up and reaching out, as we say. So
Am I frozen, Melissa? Can you hear me okay?
yeah.
Okay, so this is, can you actually, team, can you let me know if you can hear Melissa okay? Give me like a thumbs up. I can see Ethan, Jacob, Giovanna, Sarah Hadley. Okay, cool. So it's just my computer. Great. I got some pretty choppy end of that last story when you're talking about your top producer run. Um, so I'm glad everyone else could hear you really well because I'm sure it was a great story. I missed it, Melissa.
I'm sorry about that. Yeah.
Yeah, but you're an absolute stud. And like I want people to hear this too. Like Melissa, you are a stud. Not a lot of people hit top producer in their first 6 or 7 months. Like that's really, really good. Um, but like there has to be magic sauce. Like there has to be a secret to this, Melissa, because a lot of people on my team can sit here and be like, well, she probably had this, or she probably didn't have this, or her schedule probably worked this way, or like they could probably sit there and be like, well, she had this circumstance and not this, right?
Yeah.
So there was probably a magical pill that you took, or magical leads that you were given, or like a magical phone number where everyone answered when you called them with from that phone number. Like that was given to you when you were new, right? Could you explain to us, Melissa, like if someone pulled back the curtains and they followed you around your first 6 months, like what would they for real see you doing versus because like it could you could say, well, I took massive action and constant correction. I was always reaching out to my upline. Like, what would they have seen if they peeled back the curtains the first 6 months? Like, what did it really boil
Wow.
down to for you?
A lot of hours and hard work. So I
Tell
I
me
was
more. Tell me
working.
more.
Yeah, I was working sometimes 9, 10, 11 hour days. I really wanted this. Like it was something that, like I almost dreamed about it. I would like at night, I would be thinking about it, like how can I get better? How can I do more? And I had all of the failures. I mean, my first appointment was a no-show. Like that just like broke me, I was like, oh my gosh, this like my first one, you'd get through all of the courses, right? You're ready to go, you practice the scripts and you put together the presentation, then they don't show, right? And like the lessons of learning, like just you've got to have tough skin in the business. And those experiences I really think shaped me early on. And I just kept going for it. You have to almost have elephant memory. I'm like, okay, we're moving on. We're going to keep going. We're going to keep pushing. But there was a lot of hard, difficult days. It's not always easy sailing. And I think that's why so many people quit is because it is difficult. But we know, like, when we're looking out, like, what do we want at the end of this, right? We want that time freedom with our family. Like, those are the things I'm fighting for now. Like, I'm willing to sacrifice that time early on so that I can live that dream life with my family at the end. Maybe that's a different dream for someone else, but for me, I just had to, take it day at a time. Be consistent in your business. Show up for yourself. Grow yourself as a
I
leader.
also want to
Agree.
know. I also want to know
Yeah.
why you keep fighting so hard, Melissa. Like, I know everyone has a different why here, and they like a lot of your sacrifice early on, especially these last. 6 months of you putting in the extra hours and saying no to the family things and sacrificing, like, why do you do that? Because like all I heard early on, and you didn't get to see any of this because this was just Craig, excited he had a girl. But early on, I got text messages from Craig. You know him and I are best friends. He's like, dude, I got this girl Melissa on the team. She wants so much for her family. She wants so much, like, for the women in this company and for her kids. And like, can you just tell me why you fight so hard? Maybe that'll help me understand why you move so fast. I don't know. Could you tie that bow
Yeah.
for me?
Yeah, for sure. I
Okay.
think, growing up, like my family, we didn't have a lot, right? Like financial freedom was not a thing. My parents were divorced. My mom worked multiple jobs. I didn't see her often. She still hasn't retired, right? So, like, it just wasn't in the cards for her or me as a child. And I think I got this mindset of I'm going to make it happen for myself, no matter if it kills me. Like I'm going to go and accomplish what, I think is possible, which is a lot, right? We have a lot of opportunity to make the world what we want it to be. So for me, I think my work ethic is really a huge part of that, but like wanting to get to the top, wanting to get to the end, and like being proud of myself, right? That I'm able to bless others, financially because I put in the grind and I did the hard work today so that I could flourish, later. So for me, I think maybe that does go into it a good bit. Is just, not having everything I wanted growing up, or maybe not having that time with my parents and my family. If that's something I can give to my family now and pass on and that inheritance, right, to them, that would just be really fulfilling and incredible for me. So, we have to have that big why of, why are we here in the first place? And a part of it and a big part of it is that time, money, freedom, because I don't want to work 60, 70 hours a week and not see my kids, right, at the end of the day. Like that's important for me. That time is precious. So I think for me too, as a mom, it's just that's a part of like my heart that I know I'll never get back is that time with them. And if I can put in the
Yeah.
really hard work for a few years and then get that back at the end, that would make it all the worth for me. So
Okay, so we talked about the four cornerstones, and I'm going to stay on track here. I promise you. I'm not going to take you off track because I think this is
okay.
the most important thing about your story is why you were willing to move your feet so fast. Because we all have the
Yeah.
capability to pick up the phone and dial, right? We're all here, but some of us do it with a lot more intensity, right? Some of us make $150 a week, some of us make 900 a week. Okay, so I think that it matters. So at this time right now, Melissa, let's go through the four keys to a successful week real quick, just rapid fire, and then we're gonna come back to this this story about like kind of what brewed that fire in you early on that you still absolutely have right now. But so like resources, what does your weekly lead spend look like right now? What are you doing per week lead investment?
Yeah, so leads right now I've shifted. So I'm working 20 MIAs per week, and then
Okay.
I'm working 15 lighthouse leads. So I've got a good mix there, and that's purposeful. I do prefer an analog lead, but I know I've got to have, a high enough close rate to get those to come through. So I'm still perfecting my close rates and making sure I'm able to maintain my pipeline of leads. So what that looks like for me right now is diversity in lead types. So I've been working 20, like I said, 20 MIAs and then the 15 Lighthouse. And then I have a goal of weekly submit of about 10,000 per week is my goal. So
Okay, great. Do you have like a non-negotiable appointment set number or appointment
yeah,
sit number, or is
yeah,
it
I
just
like
AP?
to Yeah, I like to have 12 to 15 appointments per week. So that's my ideal. And then I just dial till I get to that point, right? So if I'm short midweek, I know I'm going to be dialing out a lot more the rest of the week. So kind of gauging. And now I am building a team so that my schedule has changed. And I know that's probably a, piece of what you want to talk
I'm
about.
going to be specific for a reason because these are the cheat codes. Really, everyone thinks that they want to hear. It's all the same with people that are top producers. These aren't the cheat codes. I think it's your mindset, your
Mhm.
desire, your vision here, your commitment, your emotional maturity, all the other things that go into this. But this is also really helpful too. So I appreciate you. Is that
Yeah.
12 to 15 sits or sets?
So I like to have 12 to 15 appointment sets.
appointment sets. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, great.
Yep.
So we've got 20 MIAs, 15 Lighthouse. We're doing 12 to 15 sits or sets, I'm sorry. And then like on average, how many hours a week are you dialing, Melissa?
Now it's very minimal, probably 2 to 3. It's because
Okay,
I've,
and then
like I've gotten through that
early
learning
on.
curve. So, I mean, and then with Lighthouse leads, you're not really dialing as much, right? Those are more text cadence. So it's kind of changed my algorithm a
Yep.
little bit. But yeah, it's like once you get the efficiency, I just speed to lead. We were talking about that. I'm a huge speed to lead proponent. So once I get my leads, like I'm dialing that day, right? Multiple times. And I don't have large dial sessions blocked out. I'm keeping my schedule where it's flexible enough where I can kind of just go through those leads when I get time, right, throughout the day. I used to, when I started blocked out, I would block out like hours within the day. But now from the speed to
Yep.
lead component, I found that it's helpful just to hit them whenever, I have opportunity that day. So that's been my most recent kind of shift for dialing.
Perfect. I'm just writing something for the comments here. I want to give my team the ability to ask questions here in the chat as we have, 15 or 20 minutes left. Guys, Melissa's a top producer and she's done this in her first 7 months. Like we get to steal her brain here for the next 20 minutes. So feel free to ask those questions in the chat. I think this is important. I think most of you that are in your first year want to be somewhere. And Melissa, you've had your ups and downs here, right? Like it's not all been rainbows and butterflies.
No,
Okay.
no, I did extremely well. And then in June, you guys reach up and reach out. I switched up some of my lead types and they didn't come, right? So for like 2 to 3 weeks, I didn't even receive leads or very minimal. So it's such a learning, the whole process is really a learning curve, what
Yep.
you're getting through. And
Yeah.
like it's not perfect and that's okay. So now I can mentor my team, like, please come to me if you're going to make lead adjustments, right? Like use every what you think is failure as an opportunity to get.
What you just explained was how Kate and I formulated an actual agency that, well, it's kind of like the learning from experience thing, but it's also that I just went through that. Now I can teach it. I just went through that. Now I can teach it.
Exactly.
Just went through
Help
that. Now I can
prevent
teach.
others from having those
That's
failures.
how you, that's how you build up. So I'm glad that you mentioned that. I love that. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So we're at 20 MIAs, 15 Lighthouse, 12 to 15 sets. And then Dawn, I'm going to get to your question because I love that question, but it's kind of baked into this. 12 to 15 sets per week. That's 2 to 3 hours of dialing. To get 15 sets before, Melissa, like your first 90 days, how many
Mm.
hours a week did that look like? Was that like 10 to 15 hours for you, or what did
Yeah,
that
I
look
would
like?
say so. Yeah, it was probably 2 to 3 hours a day, right? Because I was dialing bonus
Yep.
leads. So it's a lot more contact, a lot more hustle. With my A leads, I nurture them a little bit more, right? Because I feel like that's really helped me build that rapport with the client where I'm not blowing them out. So I'm really cognizant of times I'm dialing with my A leads. I'm just trying to, you know, make sure that I'm able to work those as efficiently as possible. So that's kind of how my dialing has switched up. But with the bonus leads, you really do
Yep.
have to put in a lot of time, effort, double, triple dialing. You guys know the routine, right? But now, especially working digital leads, right? Those are yours forever. They're not getting resold to agents. So I do follow Symmetry's like cadence for those. And then just really kind of nurture
Yep.
those out.
Same,
But
same here. Yeah. Okay, cool. I've got one more question from the chat for you, and then I would love to follow up on the other two keys to this successful week. We hit on two of them already. The question was, what is your show rate percentage from the 12 to 15 sets? Do you know your close rate with those clients you sit with, and what is your process to follow up after you receive referrals? I think that
yeah, so my
follow
show
up
rate,
after. Walk me through that.
yeah. Yeah, my sure rate is about 75 to 80% at this rate. And that's why I think I'm able to really kind of scale down how many appointments I'm running per week, right? Because I'm getting more efficient. Um, and also if I'm getting no-shows, I have those strategies, right? Where I'm dialing, I have like a procedure that I do, but I dial, they don't answer. I call them in about 10 minutes and almost 9 out of 10 times they answer on that time, that dial, right? So kind of
Okay.
learning these little
So Melissa's got it. Melissa's got a no show, no answer protocol. Y'all, Melissa, I'm not going to make you teach it on this call. If you guys want it from Melissa, connect with her on social media or find her on Facebook and send her a message. I'm sure she'd be happy to give it to you. But these are the things where I hear, Melissa, this is why I
Yeah.
really love that. Like, this is where your heart's at. You're probably willing to teach everybody how to go through that whole process right now.
Yeah,
Guys,
for sure.
this is how we learn. Someone on here is gonna hear Melissa talking right now, and they're gonna have a relationship like Craig and I have now, where we call each other every day and ask questions about business. I met him he shared on someone else's team call I wasn't a part of. We had no relation on that call. He was from a different agency, So for you, Melissa, I'm kind of just seeing the future of this. You're probably going to have a few friends that reach out to you. So you've definitely
Let's
made some
go.
friends
Running
today, but you're going
buddies.
to have a few friends that reach out to you. And
Yeah, no,
yeah, and I
that's
know that you're
awesome.
open to that. So we can all help each other out here. Go through. So you talked about the show rate, the referral process. Could you just highlight that real quick? What does that look like for you?
Yeah, so yep, so my show rate, like I said, it's around 75, 80%. And then I know you mentioned close rate too. So that is something where I love it. I think Chris Leak says this, but like average people do exceptionally well here. You do not have to be a master salesperson to do extremely well if you're willing to put in the activity. And that just like resonated with me so much because I feel like I'm not an amazing salesperson. But if you do enough activity, you close enough sales, then you can do extremely well, right? So I started out with close rates around 20, 25, 30%. Now I'm up to 50. Now I'm reevaluating my business and how can I get, to 80%. So it's like you grow with yourself throughout this process, but you don't have to be an exceptional salesperson if you have enough activity and appointments each week. So I think that's like one of those keys.
Someone's gonna write this down on a sticky note. I guarantee it. If that's you, let me know. But it's gonna say average people do amazing here if they do enough activity. Like
Mm,
it that's the we have leads, guys. Uh we have switchboard funnels now for you,
the
which is even
resources.
better than Switch Activate. We have so many resources. So let's move into the last two, Melissa. I don't want to run out of time here, but let's talk about your schedule. Mastermind that for me. Like just give me a master class on how you run your schedule in like 3 minutes or less. And then we'll finish on system if we have enough time. But I know you're a big fan of the system and you preach about
Oh,
the system. So I definitely
huge.
want to end there and like kind of talk about how you're able to scale your business because I did see, yeah, masterclass in 3 minutes. Ready, set, go. I did see a question from Joseph in here that talked about how you get your new agents, activated and successful, something along those lines. But anyways, yeah, let's talk about schedule first. Quick little masterclass, and then we'll move into system because I know you care about that too.
Yeah, hugely. So schedule, day one I started and I blocked out times, guys. So time blocking is so important. And not only time blocking your schedule, but thinking about activities that want to propel you to where you want to go, right? Like if you want to be a builder here and you're just running production on your schedule, right? You're probably not going to get to the spot you want to be in a year or two, right? So really considering what you're joining, what meetings you're a part of, what trainings you're a part of. Like Scott was on the builder call, that was his non-negotiable. Like figure out your non-negotiables before you build your schedule. So for me, I determined, okay, I want to focus on production the first 3 months. I want to learn the business. I want to put my oxygen mask on first before I help others. So really was focused on production. You would see a lot more dialing times within my schedule. You would see a lot more follow-up times with clients and appointments and meetings. But now I'm shifting right to a builder's mindset. So that for me looks like a completely different schedule. I do have production as a priority to lead from the front for my team and learn and get through the learning curve and continue to learn because the business is dynamic. Right. So even learning, lighthouse leads, it's maybe not a preference of mine, but I wanted to get through that learning curve for myself and my team. So just kind of focusing on, what is important and block out your day and your calendar, and then adhere to it, right? And stick to it. Hold yourself accountable. Don't let yourself make up excuses not to be in doing the activities that you want to have, right? But another component is the flexibility. So for me, when I was focusing on production, maybe I had time blocked for dialing, but that was a time where I could schedule a client appointment. So that would prioritize right over that dial time because I wanted to make money. So I think it's okay to have the mindset of this is my schedule. I do want to stick to it, but having that dynamic mindset of it's okay if you're doing another revenue generating activity that maybe doesn't line up at that time with your scheduled block, right? So,
That's 100% okay. Yeah, I operate that way. It's like this is part of my core non-negotiables for the week. So if something else needs to flex, it's not going to be the appointment that makes me income or that, I'm able to
exactly.
write an application on that appointment. So I'm the exact same way. All right, last thing, system. Like, what's that mean for you? Because I know there's a lot of different, oh, this is a system, it's resources, it's HQ. Like in your words, Melissa, I know that this is important, especially to your guys' master agency, but um, like, how do you help your new agents become successful, and how is that, how do you map that out for them?
I couldn't talk about system without honoring Chris Leak and his system because I'll forever be grateful for him and his, his training that he has put together for people to be successful in this with no sales experience. He really is a mastermind. And early on, when I went through the training and it was suggested to me that we utilized this Chris Leak training. I was on board and I did the system. I learned the system and I continue to preach the system because it has worked in my business. Nothing that I've done here is from my own knowledge, right? Like I utilize the people that are successful here. And by doing that, you guys will find success, right? Success follows clues. So I didn't try to recreate the wheel. I didn't try to listen to 20 trainings and figure out, I'm going to take something from this person, this person. I really like gave into the system and decided that would be my route, at least within the first year of this business because of his expertise. So like all the credit to Chris Leak and his sales mastery training and now MPU, which has expanded, right? Additional training. So that's
Right.
been the route I've went.
Are you doing the MPU? Like, did you sign up for the upgrade or get the upgrade for yourself and
Yep.
you go through those trainings?
Yep. I
Cool.
have
Love it. What would
MPU.
you
Yep.
say? What would you say to a new agent that's like, I kind of just want to jump in the field and I'll figure it out along the way? What would you say to them instead of using Chris Leake's sales mastery course?
I think that there's a huge chance you might be out of the business if you decide to try to figure this thing out on your own, right? And not have profitability early on. I think that was key. And a lot of people, I think, quit because they're not able to sustain themselves and their family, right? So I would suggest, finding a system that works, and his system does work incredibly well. So,
Love it. Love it. Love it. Melissa, tell me if I'm frozen.
nope, you're good.
Okay, cool. Awesome. What is NPU? Brooke, I was NPU would be it's MPU, Mortgage Protection University.
Mortgage Protection
There's a
University.
new yep.
I think I know. I misheard. Sorry. I think I know exactly what that is. It's a
Oh,
little
cool.
add-on.
I'm also lagging. It's frozen. This is my first time doing a team call with Melissa, so it's kind of, we're we're trying to figure this out here. Hopefully I'm on the same. It looks like I'm getting reactions for that. Okay, cool. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Melissa, you're amazing. Is there anything we can do for you? Anything we can help out with right now?
No, definitely not. You guys keep pushing on and, keep fighting. Keep fighting for the
Cool.
business and your dreams and what you guys want because it's able, we're able to accomplish whatever we really put our mind to. So,
Oh, absolutely. No, Melissa, we're going to be spending some time together. You're going to be a 130 in this company. I know that for a fact. So I can't wait to
uh,
get to know you and your husband more. But yeah, we do have a few minutes, guys. Just to end this call out with a couple of questions. So Melissa, you're okay with taking a few questions from the team?
yeah, yeah, of course. Go for
Yeah,
it.
cool. McKinley, if you want to unmute, go ahead.
Yeah, I have put my question in the chat, but it was, do you do only phone appointments or are you doing like video appointments as well?
Yeah, so I primarily do video because it allows you to build connection with the client. They can see you, you can see them, especially as a new sales agent. I'd really suggest, when at all possible, running a Zoom appointments or crank wheel. I mean, there's so many great resources that are easy to do. And 9 out of 10 times now I'm running, crank wheel, which is just a screen share app. But that allows them to at least see your face, right? You're building credibility with them, and it goes a long way to the personality that they're able to see you and kind of, your credentials, right? So with the Chris Leak system, you have a PowerPoint and you're going through your license with them so they can see exactly who you are. And it really helps to build the credibility and the comfort level, I think, with the client. So I would highly recommend doing video. And then if I'm not able to do that for whatever reason, then I'll run a phone appointment. So,
I'll pause you just because I know, like Melissa, you're kind of like me when you were given a training system and you're like, I'm gonna follow this religiously, and I'm going to be the one that makes this work because I'm willing to run the play. And this was me with Switchboard. When Switchboard first came out, Melissa, I was the guinea pig. I followed everything to the T. It worked because I followed it. Just I never
right.
deviated. This was you with the Chris League training system. So, for the question of video versus non-video or spouse versus solo appointment, like what do you guys think is her answer? You know what I mean? Like you can go back to the training. It's recommended that you don't book meetings outside of 48 hours. It's recommended that you don't do one-legged appointments. It's recommended that you don't run a phone appointment because Zoom call is going to be better or Google Meets. Like, so I can guarantee you, Melissa has stayed so true to these recommendations of the system that she's learned, which is why she's gotten so good because repetition through
Mhm.
doing things the right way serves your skill set a lot better than repetition doing things the wrong way, you
Mhm.
know?
That's
Because
good. Yeah.
we can get down a wrong path and then all of a sudden that feels like muscle memory. Imagine doing the wrong thing by muscle memory. That's gonna that hurts to break. So anyways, I wanted to bring some honor to that because I've been told you're one that follows the system probably better than anyone else. So I just wanted to bring honor to that and also probably point back a lot of these things are because it was part of the system that she was taught, you know. So
Mhm.
anyways, anything else from Melissa? Would you say anything else on top of that?
No, but being type A can pay off. Having that personality, like the introverts in the room and all the people that feel like they're not the outgoing salesperson. If you stick to the system and follow it, like you will build comfort and just see yourself grow so much, right? Because you have support within that, and you don't have to have all the answers because the system is going to support and back you and help you with that. So, yep.
Oh, 100%. I always like, I meet, like, I met you, especially for the first time, Melissa. I'm like, this is the sweetest person I've ever met. How does she like close a deal when someone is like being a little bit tougher with her? But it's kind of like how I felt with meeting Brooke Carter too. And Brooke Carter does that all the time. She's just like the nicest person. Sarah Neal, same thing, where you come across to them and you're like, this person couldn't close a deal. No, they're serving and they know how to be direct and they've followed a system which really helps their style out because they're not the type of agents that are going to be like, all right, I really want you to think about this. Okay, we need to get started with one of them today. So which one is it going to be? We're not hard closing anybody into a policy. So,
Right.
Melissa,
Kill
I
them with
love your
kindness.
style. What's that?
But kill them with kindness, guys. But people
Yep.
want you to take care of them at the end of the day. They don't want a sales type person that's aggressive. I feel like, the people that are able to nurture the client and make sure, they want to know at the end of the day they're protected and you're going to help them do that. Right? That's what matters. And if you're able to connect and build that rapport with them, that's really important for the success in the sale. So,
Melissa, you are excellent, my friend. Today's been excellent. You guys, if you can put in the chat real quick, just if anything has stood out to you, if you're taking something home with you, um, that way Melissa can read through these comments, which I'm going to send her later today. But yeah, if you guys want to just say thank you to our new friend, Melissa Martinez. Melissa, so you're team leader now. You're fighting for key leader. You just missed the head count. You're fighting for the head count now. Fill me in on
so yeah, head count's been
where you
there. So yeah, head count's been there. We almost skipped team leader and went to key leader. We were like $800 short last month. That's okay. We're gonna try again this,
are.
this month.
Cool.
But I mean, I feel like the most important thing is really we're hitting our promotions each month, right? Like we're making ourselves more profitable and the titles will come, right, as we're doing what we should be in the business. So that's kind of been my mindset on that.
Heck yeah. Well, we've had fun today. Selfishly, I've learned a lot from you, Melissa. So good hanging out with you.
Thank you
Let's
so
have,
much.
yeah, thank you. Everyone have a great Monday. Let's crush it this week. Melissa, where can they find you? Facebook, Instagram? Where do you want people to reach out if they want to say hi?
Yeah, Facebook and Instagram, either one, whatever works
Okay,
best. LinkedIn.
cool.
Yeah.
LinkedIn, there it is. Cool, guys. All right, let's have a great one. Love you all.
Bye,
Let's go
guys.
crush it. See ya.